Ah, is it? There we are. A little scuff never hurts. Truly. They can only hear me, apparently.
Mic is set to default. Hello? There we go.
How's that? Is that better, you guys?
How is this? Chat, please help us with the scuff. There we go. Are our levels good?
Yeah, I think we're still back.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that has never happened to me before. Usually it's the guest that's like, "Oh, we can't hear them." Or like, "Oh, they're muted," or "Oh, Discord sounds bad." Right? But this time it was me. I'm the problem. It's me. Daryl could go up a bit? Okay. Yes,
Sure,
I will.
put it up.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
sure.
Maybe. Yeah, I'll put it up on my end. Maybe that is a little better.
Yeah, how is that? Chat.
Hello, 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 hello.
It sounds good to me. And
It's
levels
probably
wise.
good.
Levels wise, it looks good to me. Okay,
Awesome.
perfect. Yay. Thank you, everybody, for being our sound check people. Appreciate it. Okay. But yeah, welcome to another edition of Shop Talk, the talk show where we talk shop about creatives and their work that makes VTubing possible. I'm your host, Moni, and today we have a very special guest, Starlight Daryl, with us. Yay!
Hello, yay!
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about music composition and live performances and just being a VTuber, all that good stuff. Yeah, so welcome. Daryl,
Thank you for having me.
did you want to do like a little promo self intro of like who you are and what you do for anyone that might not know?
So my name is Starlight Daryl, and I'm a composer, orchestrator, multi-instrumentalist, and I guess more recently, concert producer and music director. And I've been working with VTubers since 2020, and that's sort of been my full-time thing, making music for VTubers and with VTubers. And yeah, it's been really fun. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining the stream. I was really excited when you said yes. I was really excited when you said yes. Cuz I'm still like maybe newer to the VTuber music scene. But from what I have seen, your work is really incredible and I'm really
Thank you.
excited to talk to you today. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
All right. So, first things first. I really want to talk about Music Box of Fate, which is your opera song with Iron Mouse. I still cry pretty much every time I listen to it, so it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's been receiving a lot of buzz lately. I feel like a lot of people have found it through Iron Mouse and have found you as well. And
Yeah.
from the last time I checked, it's racked up over 500,000 views in the first couple weeks of it being published. Yeah, already, which is crazy.
I stopped keeping track of it. It's like it's really easy to kind of obsess over it. I've sometimes got to remind myself to take a step back and just take things easy and let them happen as they will. But that's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I would love to know pretty much everything about how this came about. So first things first, how did it start? Like, where did the idea for this song come from?
Yeah, so it's Mm, so it started off really with two dreams. My dream of writing a song with writing a VTuber song specifically
Mm.
with a live orchestra performing it, and Mousie's dream of singing opera professionally. Um, yeah, I think those have both been lifelong dreams for the both of us, and sort of, I've been working with Mouse since since 2020. She was one of my
Mm.
first clients,
Yeah.
and we've had a really really wonderful and long working relationship ever since then. And um, so these dreams have always been sort of in the backs of our minds. But I think what really pushed me to like, kind of come up with a song was when I'd heard her sing opera on stream for the first time,
Mm.
and I was inconsolable. I was a tearful mess.
Ah,
Um,
yeah.
and then that was sort of like, what, like I should do that song I've been putting off,
Mm-hmm.
and have have Mouse sing it. That just felt like the most natural kind of progression
Mm.
of things. Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, I think maybe you weren't putting it off. You just needed the right muse, you know?
That is such a nice way to put it.
Yeah, so is it like something you wrote specifically for Mouse, or did Mouse tell you that she wanted a song and then you were like, I have an idea kind of thing? Like, how did that?
um, so by the time because I'd started, I invited Mouse to the project.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'd composed like maybe like a 70 to 80% finished demo of the song,
Wow.
um, without lyrics. Like it was just me humming it. Um, and so I'd sent that over to her and Roxy, and asked if that's something that she'd be interested in singing, and miraculously she said yes. um, and everything else just kind of fell in place from there.
Awesome. So you sent it to Mouse without lyrics, and then when did like Wonder, who is the lyricist, come into the picture?
He came in a couple of months into the like I guess if you call the me reaching out to Mouse and asking her if she would like to sing it, and if she's happy kind of with the song idea that I had, right? If we kind of call that the official start of the project, then he was probably around, I want to say, like 2 to 3 months in, and
Mm-hmm.
he'd been a long time collaborator and friend. We'd done a couple of fan songs together, and obviously I've been a fan of his work ever since I'd first heard songs like Astro Girl, um, and Chikutaku. So when I was writing the song, I didn't really think too deeply about like, oh, what am I gonna do for the lyrics?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was sort of like, oh, that's a problem for me to figure out later on. Um, but yeah, miraculously, he also said yes. He would love to help out with this project, and he also had his own sort of personal dream of writing a really like lore centric, very emotional song for Iron Mouse as well. So it was really this kind of the stars aligning or the planets aligning.
Ah, that's so awesome. Yeah, it truly does feel like a bunch of people's dreams coming together to create something beautiful. Um, yeah, it's it's awesome. It's serendipitous. Very cool.
Truly.
I guess in terms of like the composition part, how do you even begin to write an orchestral piece like this? Like where did you start?
It's a really good question. I feel like with orchestra pieces, there are a million different ways to start
Mm-hmm.
and finish a piece.
Mm-hmm.
A lot, sometimes you start with the melody, sometimes you start with honestly like some random, I don't know, like clarinet part that ends up becoming a full woodwind section
Mm-hmm.
part, and then that ends up becoming a full song.
Yeah.
In the case of Music Box of Fate, It really started with that music box melody that you hear in the very beginning. Music boxes have kind of been like a recurring theme in Iron Mouse's BGMs that I've been composing for her since, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
She always asks for like a music box variation of, pretty much everything that I write for her. And so I really wanted to incorporate that music box element into the song. So that was actually the first thing I started with. Um, and the melody that plays, in that music box part, the whole like da 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 da, that ended up becoming the main melody of the song, like the chorus part,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And I also did not. I wasn't planning for the song to be called Music Box of Fate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Riku kind of thought of that, and then I really liked it. So, um, yeah, for a long time it was just like Iron Mouse orchestra song, like 01.
Yeah. That's so funny. Classic. Um, yeah, that's so cool. And I think very few people probably get the chance to write a piece that's that big and ambitious and has so many different parts. But I'm sure it helps that you know like a gajillion instruments.
Yeah, so that's the funny thing. I definitely like I play a lot of instruments. I don't play that many orchestral instruments, so a lot of what I do
Mm.
is like really guesswork. Um, sort of like I know what the instruments like kind of make me feel and how they kind of sound together. But like I always have a hard time really knowing like is this something that's actually playable by like a human musician?
Oh.
Um, and that's like I have like reference books for that stuff. Like sometimes I go on YouTube and I search like I don't know insane like tuba solo just to see like what the upper limits of like the human ability are. But that's not always the smartest thing to do because not every tuba player is like like a tuba shredder. But
Yeah.
but yeah, for all the small moving parts, I just kind of guessed and did my best from what I do know, and I have an assistant who I hired specifically during this project.
Mm.
Her name is Yam Albat, and she is a viola player and orchestrator with the VTubers Symphony Orchestra. You might have heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're kind of this group of VTubers who are also classical musicians, and they've sort of formed this online orchestra, and they do stuff together. They record songs together. And I'd hired her basically to like be my voice of reason, and like have her say like Daryl, this viola part is just not playable. You need to rewrite it. And she's been really amazing to work with. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with VTSO and with Yam. So it's really cool that you got to work with her as well. Um, in terms of actually recording with the orchestra, what was that process like? Like working with a live orchestra, hiring one, and also coordinating all the parts for them, and like that back and forth. Or was there any back and forth, or do you just send them the sheet music and they just know what to do? Like,
there was sort of a back and forth. The whole thing took half an hour, which
oh,
was probably the most intense, like
really?
30 minutes of my entire life.
Wow.
So okay, so um, Budapest Scoring, which is the orchestra that we were working with,
Mm-hmm.
after I had booked them, um, so basically, they will sight read the piece in 30 minutes, and they'll just kind of have the recording engineer, um, like recording the entire time from start to finish,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll do a couple of runs of the song that won't sound very good because
Mm.
obviously they're just singing the song for the first time in their lives, and it's not a very easy song to play. And so I was sweating bullets. I was
Oh
like on the edge of
no.
my chair. Thankfully, Yam was in the session with me. We were actually participating with our VTuber models, and the
Oh
orchestra
my
kind of got
gosh.
a kick out of that because
That's
I
awesome.
don't, I don't think they've ever had VTubers phoning in for their, for their for their recording sessions.
Yeah, I'm sure you were the first. That's really cool.
Yeah, they've done VTuber projects before.
Oh.
Because my friend Aya, who is a composer for Doki Bird,
Mm.
has hired this orchestra for a couple of her projects. But as far as I'm aware, we were the first like VTuber composers to be in a call with the orchestra and with the conductor. And if you look really closely at the behind the scenes footage that I uploaded, you can actually see our models on the sort of the conductor's podium.
No way. I'm gonna add it in post to the to this interview. We're gonna zoom in and find you
Yeah.
guys. That's so awesome. But yeah, that's
But
incredible.
yeah,
30
I
minutes.
mean, 30 minutes. Like by take like three, they'd pretty much gotten it, and I I had plenty of usable recordings. Um, that once I stitched together, just sounded phenomenal. These guys are on a whole different level.
Yeah, seriously. Like, wow. That's like I'm so in awe of people, of musicians, but that's
I am too, to be honest.
crazy. Crazy. They're crazy good. Um yeah, and through all that, do you feel like you learned anything working on Music Box of Fate that will kind of stick with you for the rest of your VTuber music composition career?
Might sound kind of corny, maybe, but I think there were really two lessons that really like struck a chord in me and will probably stay with me forever. One is that um, I'm really glad I asked for help, like with the orchestration, with the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics, and they've both also just been both Yam and Riku have just been amazing friends through this whole process, and so I think um, you know as musicians, we tend to kind of keep to ourselves a lot of the time, and we try to do everything ourselves. But I think this song would not have been possible if it weren't for every single person on the team. So, kind of learning to depend on your friends and your colleagues is a really big one that, I've definitely learned to rely more on other people during the course of the song. The other lesson is that it's possible, like, I can do it. That's sort of been a struggle of mine, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
for the 20 something years I've been doing this music thing. Um, it's just like knowing that, yeah, you can actually write for a live orchestra and it will sound great. So you should do it again, Daryl.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Those are amazing lessons. And I feel like yeah, they're both important. Um like I'm not a musician, but I am an artist and I feel like it can be very isolating sometimes to just
Yeah,
work on your own thing all the time and feel like
yeah.
you're going insane a little bit.
I feel like pretty much any kind of creative person goes through that at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but having a community of other artists is like a game changer, I think.
Mm.
And it's really important to have. And so I think that's also why I like started this show, because I want people to find people and like have a kind of network to to lean
Mm.
on. I think that would be really
Yeah.
nice.
That's
Um,
wonderful. Yeah.
yeah. And that kind of ties into one of the other questions I wanted to ask. I'm going to do these out of order a little bit, but um, considering those
Or a little
lessons,
purple.
um, yeah, considering those lessons that you just mentioned about like relying on others and also just like believing in yourself, I guess, is maybe a way to summarize the second thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
Thinking back on your, what is it, 20 something years? Was it?
I think
Of
I'm
your
coming up on 23 years of doing
23,
music.
23 years in this career. What do you think are the biggest obstacles you had to overcome to get to where you are now?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's hundreds of them, but if I were to pick the ones that probably were like um the most the biggest roadblocks for myself, I think a lot of let me think about that for a second.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. Take your time. Yeah. It's a
I
lot
think
to think through.
I think business skills for sure.
Mm.
Is something that I've only really learned in the past 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm really I kind of count myself lucky that I started learning that stuff when I did, because it kind of equipped me to really um, kind of put myself out there as a musician when the VTuber boom took off. And a lot of those business skills really did come in handy, especially really early on, when nobody knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think definitely self-doubt. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably been my biggest sort of internal blocker. I'm completely self-taught. I never went to music school or like, had like any formal training or anything like that. And I think sort of learning to be proud of that, I guess, because for a
Mm.
long time I was like, oh gosh, I never went to music school. I never
Yeah.
like I don't have classical training. Like I only know what I know about music through, the books that I've read and the YouTube videos that I've watched and, you know, um, going to symphony concerts and furiously taking notes with my phone and looking like people thought I was like, oh, what's wrong with her, like she's not enjoying the concert,
No.
she's like on her phone, what the heck. But no, I was extra attuned into the show. I was just taking notes.
Yeah.
um yeah, so I guess like um and there is a degree of sort of I don't want to go too deep into this, but like sort of gatekeeping within the classical world,
Mm.
that if you didn't have that kind of upbringing or that kind of background, then a lot of people don't take you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's rather silly,
Mm.
and I think that learning to like a lot of people have proven that you don't need to like have a formal training. Like it's wonderful if you do. It helps a lot. Um, but plenty of people are making meaningful impacts on the world with a couple of hours on YouTube
Yeah.
and at the library. So, um, yeah, believe in yourself.
Yes. Believe
That
in
was definitely a
yourself.
message for myself.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that it is coming true. Even if there's a little bit of doubt, which I think for many of us there will always be like a tinge of doubt.
Yeah.
Uh, like your track record also speaks for itself. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah. Um. I yeah, and then that also leads into my next question about. I guess you touched on it, where you're a largely self-taught musician, which is incredible as well. What was the spark? What initially made you want to start making music?
I don't entirely know.
It's been so long.
um, I remember being, like, gosh, like 8 years old, 10 years old, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and just like, playing video games and like watching cartoons and stuff like that. I was a really big fan of Star Wars growing up,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just kind of music would always kind of stick with me. Whether it was a video game or a cartoon or, like a song I hear on the radio. And I just kind of found myself like, kind of, I guess, composing before I knew what composing music was, even,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just like randomly humming stuff, um, and, kind of coming up with cool melodies. Um, or I guess melodies I thought were cool as a kid. I don't know if they still are now. I don't have any like surviving recordings of like 8-year-old me. Um, but like it's just kind of always been there, and it's something that I've always been drawn to. Um, I guess in high school, I was really into like rock and roll and metal, and I was in a punk rock band and stuff like that.
Cool.
Um, just because it was a really fun and cool way to like play music with other people, my friends. So I guess that was really like sort of the spark that
Mm-hmm.
pushed me to like actually start learning music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to be in a band and tour the
Yeah.
world and all that stuff, all that fun
Rock
stuff.
star, rock star
Never
lifestyle.
happened. But
Virtual rock star. It's okay. In a way.
in a way,
Yeah, but it sounds like maybe yeah, you had a natural affinity for music for since you
yeah,
were
maybe
quite
I
young.
did.
And then maybe as you got older, there was a certain level of like camaraderie and community that you found with other
I think
musicians.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. And nowadays, where do you feel like your sources of inspiration come from?
Mm. I guess honestly, I guess like other people's stories of um their trials and tribulations,
Mm-hmm.
their um sort of where they came from and where they're going. Because that really was the driving force when I was composing Music Box of Fate.
Mm-hmm.
Was I was thinking about Iron Mouse, Iron Mouse's journey, all the hardships that she's had to deal with and overcome, um, and that was really the feeling that I was holding on to and focusing on as I was writing the song. And I'm very fortunate to have a friend like Wonder Riku who kind of was on the same page and realized that this story was kind of hidden in the music that I'd written, whether I did that consciously or not. But yeah, yeah, I think like I find a lot of inspiration from other people, especially the ones who have you know sort of had to make lemonade out of lemons, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
So, yeah, just like things like that. I find a lot of beauty in nature.
mm,
The stars, of course. I'm a
mm-hmm.
big fan of the universe.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
um, yeah, so a lot of my music is sort of inspired by that as well.
Yeah, I think that definitely comes across in a lot of the songs that I've heard from you. Yeah. On the note of kind of collaborating with people, um, and VTubers specifically, are there
Mm.
any sort of special considerations you have when it comes to making music for VTubers? And like why VTubers? You know?
Considerations like just sort of like mm, could you clarify a little bit, please?
I guess yeah. I guess like the point of this question is more like what songs do VTubers want? What do they like to make? Why do they like to make those kinds of things? What inspires you to make music for VTubers specifically instead of just like making music for I don't know other potential markets? I guess.
Right, right. I see, I
Mm-hmm,
see.
mm-hmm,
That's a wonderful question. Um, I guess the simple answer is that I'm a VTuber fan.
mm-hmm,
I sort of discovered them around the time that they started taking off. In that sort of early mid 2020 era.
mm-hmm,
So it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but I think what keeps me going in this scene is that I think VTubing kind of provides us with a really unique blend of um, sort of IRL stories and also a fictitious lore
mm-hmm.
that I think that when they blend together in a way that sort of complement one another. So in the case of Iron Mouse, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that's a really beautiful thing, and I think that um, it's a really unique sort of look at the human experience and how we kind of come up with this VTuber lore um, to kind of be like a metaphor for ourselves or an extension of our like real life stories. And I think there's just so much. It's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when VTubers ask me to make music for them, a lot of the time it really does tie in um, with both their VTuber lore and also their IRL persona. A lot of them, you know, just kind of ask for music that they like.
Yeah.
Like if they're like fans of say a bossa nova, then obviously they'll ask for a bossa nova track or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like let's say they're a let's say that they're a what's a good example? Um, oh, I had a client once who their thing was like they were like a tea house like a what's the word for it? A tea house owner.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted their music to really have a lot of kind of like those, a lot of like Chinese folk elements.
Mm.
But they were a tea house owner in space, so that
Uh,
added a whole new twist. And I think you don't really see that outside of VTubing. Um, it's always fresh. It's always new. It's always like interesting, and it's never a dull moment. And being asked to do all these crossovers of like oh, make me like I want a theme that sounds like um, I'm a dragon, but like a comfy, cozy dragon, like from Antarctica,
yeah.
and those combinations just always they always like just result in the most interesting music requests that I would never ever hear anywhere else. Um, so that it's always fun. It's always fun.
That's so true. Yeah, like I never considered it, but I guess in the conventional kind of music scene, people are typically writing about, their lives, like regular stuff. And not that it's not creative, but it's like with VTubers, you get the most out there combinations of themes that wouldn't exist pretty much anywhere else.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah, that's super fun. um, yeah, well, for you, I mean, you're a VTuber. Like, what about you is like your VTuber lore and your identity as a real person, and how do those come together in your music, do you think?
Really interesting question. I'm still figuring out a lot of that stuff about like my own, sort of VTuber lore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is actually a pre-made model. I
Oh,
I found it one day while I was browsing. I think it was a booth.
it's so cute.
Thank you. And I was on the market for like a custom model, so I kind of put together, a like a mood board, an
Mm-hmm.
inspiration board, and like I saw this model and I was like, wait, that's like literally just my mood board. So next thing I knew, like $1,800 left my bank account and I got a model. Um, so I haven't really thought too deeply. Like, I have like a mascot and stuff.
Hmm.
Like I'm definitely space themed. Um, but yeah, I think like the music that I write for myself in particular, um, I think does really speak a lot to my sort of personal music journey.
Hmm.
Because I grew up a lot on sort of like classic film scores, like from the 50s and the
Hmm.
60s. Like Henry Mancini is one of my most favorite composers of all time. Um, but I'm also a huge weeb, and like I love like anime music. I love Yuki Kajiura. Um, you know, um, I also love like gotcha games, like Genshin Impact.
Hmm.
Like Yu Ping Chen is my favorite composer of all time.
Oh wow.
And I think just all of those different elements come together, and when I make music for myself, um, that's sort of what naturally comes out.
Yeah.
And I think that it's been a really fun kind of exploratory process, especially since I've been working on my own album
Mm.
for a while now, and
Hmm.
it's hopefully going to be coming out in a couple months. But
Hopefully.
yeah, that album has really been just sort of a process of like, okay, looking back at all the things that I loved growing up and kind of putting it into like one thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
Um, in like, what is it like making an album?
It's it's very silly.
It's
It's very
silly.
it's very silly because when I don't maybe this is something you can relate to as an artist, as a creative himself. When you're making stuff for someone else, especially when they're paying for it,
Mm.
there's a very clear vision. There's a very
Mm.
clear sort of um, path to what a finished product will roughly sound like or look
Hmm.
like.
Yeah.
Um, but I find that when I am working on my own stuff, just for myself, for my own artistic indulgence, like it kind of feels like I'm meandering forever, and I never really reach a point where I'm like, oh yeah, this song is finished, or like, oh yeah, this album is finished. I'm always just, I swear to God, I sit on like the dumbest ideas for like hours and hours, sometimes for days, and I'm just
Oh
like,
my goodness.
hmm, does that chord really need an F sharp? Hmm, am I making it spicy for no reason, or is it actually doing? Is that actually making me feel something? And just all of these like really silly little tiny things that like no one will really notice except for like myself. And then like I get stuck on those forever.
Mm. Yes. That is the creative struggle, I think.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's definitely a lot easier like writing for other people than writing for myself. It sounds kind of funny, but it's true.
no, totally. You can be your worst critic in a lot of ways. So it's
Yeah.
tough. You're the toughest
I think that's
client.
part of it.
Yeah.
That's definitely part of it.
Well, that I mean, I one of the questions that I had for you was how do you know when a song is finished? But I guess you're not sure in some ways.
um, well, for songs that I'm writing with clients, you know, if they say if they say it's finished, if they say they're happy with it, then you know, who am I to say otherwise?
Yeah, that's true.
um, but I have kind of been I do have this very very new sort of ritual that I do with all of my works. Both for clients and also for myself,
Mhm.
and also for projects like Music Box of Fate, where they're more collaborative. I find that if I render the song to MP3 and I put it on my phone, and then I grab my earbuds and I go outside for a walk, and just listen to the song without looking at my computer screen, without really looking at anything. Well, that's not true. Sometimes I look at the stars and I do this, and it helps
Mm.
kind of align myself.
Oh.
Um, and I find that there's just this clarity that you get from listening to music, without looking at the small moving parts that make that comprise it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I have my music software open, whether it's like the DAW or the sheet music, and I'm looking at every single note on there, and I'm like, listening to the song, and then I'm just like, oh, I don't want to change that. But when I don't have that in front of me, and I'm forced not to look at it because I'm away from a computer, I find that I can really make um, more objective, I guess, decisions.
Mm-hmm.
These are objective decisions on subjective things, like how it makes me feel, but it's just a different perspective.
Yeah, that's so interesting to me. I guess, in a sense, you're kind of like um, sitting in the seat of the people that are actually going to experience the music in a way.
That's very
Like you're
true.
becoming
Yeah.
the audience to see how it would feel instead of
Mhm.
coming at it from the composer or artist point of view. And
Right. Right.
yeah, that's so smart, honestly. That's great advice, I think, for people. Um, I had a question. I asked a bunch of my musically inclined friends for questions to ask you. And one of the questions was for someone that likes playing music, but they haven't composed anything before and they want to start composing and producing music. What are the first three things that you would recommend that they do?
Get familiar with a DAW.
Mm.
It doesn't really matter which one. And a DAW is a digital audio workstation, so
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like the master software where all of the music making happens.
Mm-hmm.
I use Reaper. A lot of people use like Logic or honestly, like people do really cool stuff with like GarageBand.
Whoa, yeah.
um, like it doesn't matter. Just start doing it, and then watch a couple of YouTube videos about just the basics of audio plugins, like what kind of equipment you'll need. You may not really need that much equipment. Um, like I personally use a MIDI keyboard
Mm-hmm.
to kind of like enter in all the notes that I want to be in the song.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people just kind of do that by pointing and clicking, and that also works just fine. It's really a matter of preference. Um, and the third thing, I guess this isn't really like a recommendation for like what kind of resource to go for or like what software to get, but just compose a little bit every single day. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be long. It can literally be like a 5 second like thing that you're just kind of messing around with or noodling around, and you know, um, just do it every single day without fail. Um, yeah.
Yes. That's great advice. It's like the philosophy of like just make it exist, you can make it good later kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I really find that like making music, um, I don't know, maybe art is like the same way. A lot of people kind of get stuck at the where do I start
Mhm.
phase,
Mhm.
and the only real answer is like you start by starting. Like, don't worry about it being good. Don't worry about it being like decent, even.
Mhm.
Like, if you just barf out a couple of like notes on a piano, you've composed music.
Yes.
And, you know, um, the more you do that each day consistently, the more you do that, the more you'll kind of learn how to use your programs, the more you'll kind of learn um, how to make your ideas that are in your head actually happen in real life. and how to make it all sound good. So it's a constant learning process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even now for myself, even now, it's still constant. Like, oh, I'm still learning new things every day. Every time I open my DAW.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's just the nature of being a creative person is like you're always chasing that next thing that you can learn to make your ideas come true.
Right.
Yeah, like overcoming that gap between your skill and your vision is like the point almost of being creative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ah, you get me.
I
You get
totally
me,
do.
Molly.
Yes, I do. But I while you were saying that beautifully, I was like in my head I was like taking notes of what I'm learning, and one of the things is barf on a piano. How to write music, barf on a piano. Okay, good,
Amazing.
great.
Please don't action that. I am not liable for damage to your equipment.
Anyways, where was I? Sorry. My it's not intrusive thoughts, but I guess just my my silly lizard brain just had to say that. Where are we now? All right. So, getting back into the actual interview. You recently, very recently, produced and performed at Fantastic Reality. For those of you that don't know, it was a. How would you describe that event? I guess I would rather have you say it in your own words.
Now, Fantastic Reality is a it's a mixed reality concert that pairs VTubers who sing with a live band, and it's an immersive experience.
Yes. Yeah, and it's such a cool concept to see come to life because I think that there are so many like talented V singers out there, but for a long time in VTubing, there was no real way for them to perform live in that
Right.
in this kind of context. Because just like I remember, I feel so bad for that VTuber. I don't remember who they were, but there was like a viral clip of a corpo VTuber I think that was doing like a concert, and it was just them on the screen. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I do.
Do you know who the
And it's
VTuber
funny.
was?
I don't, but it's funny because you know, like the team and I, we put together like, you know, Twitter videos, TikTok and like YouTube shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the comments that we got the most was this is gonna be just like that one VTuber concert.
No, I feel so terrible for that person.
Yeah,
Like
I do too.
they didn't deserve to be dogged on that much, but it is a
Yeah.
limitation of the medium, or like it was a limitation of the medium at the time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, how did you make sure that didn't happen to you guys? Like, what was the process for setting this event up?
There were just like, oh gosh, a billion moving like small moving parts. Um, and we have the fortune of having a lot of really um, passionate and also knowledgeable people helping out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shout out to AKA Virtual for like really hard carrying a lot of the 3D. Um, but like ultimately, we really and I guess this kind of relates to the thing that we were just talking about before this question.
Mm-hmm.
We really wanted to approach the production of this concert um, from the viewpoint of an audience member, you know, of a VTuber fan.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone on the team, we're all, you know, VTuber fans. So we really we did a lot of exercises in like, okay, what do the fans want out of a VTuber concert, you know?
Yeah.
And everything that we did had to be in service of that vision, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, So everything from like the stage placement, the way the backgrounds were um, designed, like all of the what you call it, what's the word for it? I'm like drawing a blank. I'm not familiar with 3D, but oh my gosh, the lighting. There you
Yeah.
go.
The
um,
lighting. Yes.
the lighting, like we really wanted it to all be immersive and to
Hmm.
kind of create this alternate reality where VTubers and humans can really truly exist in the same room. And that layer of, you know, sort of the boundary between the virtual world and the IRL world gets taken down for a night.
Hmm.
And um, yeah, that like that's sort of why the theme and the name of the show is Fantastic Reality, because we wanted to make a reality that is fantastic, quite
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah,
Like
and I
a
think you
much
did.
cooler version of the world where
Hmm.
VTubers are standing on stage and like for realsies.
Yes. It's so cool. Like where did you even come up with this idea? Like where did it come from?
So my friend Maria, I call Maria. She is a VTuber as well, she's a talent um, who was one of the performers in the concert, but she was also one of the co-producers,
Hmm.
and um, kind of similar to Music Box Fate. This also started kind of with two people's dreams. She wanted to sing with a live band despite being a VTuber,
Hmm.
and I wanted to bring live music to a VTuber concert. And so, we had a lot of conversations about what that would look like, what that might entail, like what would be needed to pull off that kind of feat. Um, Realized that we could do it, and then we were very lucky to run into the right people who also wanted to make this happen. So everything starts with a dream, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Like um I feel like yeah, for these two most recent projects that you've had, it's truly just been dreams. And then if you it's like dreams, and if you manage to talk to the right people about your dreams, you can work together to make them real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
A
Ah.
dream, a dream with a plan will take you anywhere.
The plan is pretty important, I feel like, as well. The dream is where it starts, but the plan is how it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of planning, were there any like major challenges? I can imagine from a technical standpoint, it's probably pretty tough to have the VTubers performing with the band, with the lights, with the, like everything happening all at once.
Yeah. Honestly, um, honestly, the biggest sort of how do I say this? We really wanted the best people that we could, possibly afford to work with to work on this.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've found ourselves in a lot of situations where we had to kind of figure out like how we're going to pay for certain people's services, things like that. And just like, finding the money to like fund this kind of thing. Um, it's stuff that like we weren't very familiar with, but by some miracle made it happen.
Yeah. Ah. Yeah, that's super cool. Um, and we're coming close to an hour. How are you feeling? Just want to check in. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Nice. Yes. It's always money issue. Yeah. Oftentimes money is a major limiting factor to many creative projects. For sure. For sure. Yeah. I only have one question left, really. And it's kind of just a question for you to talk about what you're working on. So, to give you your flowers, congratulations on all the stuff that you've done most recently. It's been
Thank
incredible.
you.
Um, and I'm so excited to see what you do next. So, what are your kind of goals for the future, and what are the projects that are in the works that people can hope to expect from you in the coming year or so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a few things. So I'm working on getting my album finished for one.
Mhm.
That should be within the next couple months, hopefully. Um, I've also started a new sort of like music production, I don't, I mean, company, but
Mm.
it's really just me and Riku. We've decided to team up and kind of offer our services to the VTubing world together to make more songs like Music Box of Fate. And we are called Starlight and Wonder. So you can find us on Twitter and send us a message if you want to say
Mhm.
hi. um, and I would really like to do more um, live orchestral music. So that is something that I'm slowly but surely working on. So yeah, if we can have more songs like Music Box of Fate with a bunch of other VTubers, I think that'd be really fulfilling.
Yeah, that would be so cool. You hear that, VTubers? If you have a dream to sing with an orchestra, you know who to talk to. Yeah, you know who to call.
Yeah. And last but not least, more fantastic reality concerts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's super cool. Are you going to have them kind of in the same place, or are we thinking like in other locations, other cities?
Something we're kind of thinking about right now.
Mm.
Um, I think one of the beautiful things about this being a VTuber concert is that um, there's a lot of sort of creative liberties we can take with each show. Um, a lot of limitations that IRL performers, like fully IRL performers,
Mm.
would typically you know have to adhere to. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, we're kind of in a exploratory phase, if you
Mm.
will.
I
But
see.
yeah, definitely planning on more fun concerts in the future.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's so much to look forward to. I'm super excited, and I'm sure everyone else here is also super hyped for everything that's gonna come
Yay.
up. And yeah, that's it for the show. Do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, thank you, Moni, for this wonderful interview.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a real pleasure. And to everyone watching, I hope that Music Box of Fate and Fantastic Reality both can kind of be a gentle reminder to you that um, no matter where you are in life or where you've come from, uh, it's never it's never impossible to pursue the things that you want to pursue. So um, I hope you will pursue them.
Yay! Thank you so much. And yeah, to everybody in chat, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it.
Oh, this has been
Yeah,
fun.
and the VOD will be available on our YouTube channel after this. So, yay! I never know how to end
Yay.
these. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.